Hi, I'm Mindy Hofman, and welcome to the Women of Austin podcast. We're igniting the power of women's voices. Welcome to the Women of Austin podcast. I'm your host, Mindy Hofman. Thank you so much for being here with us today. Today, I have three incredible women sitting with me, and I cannot wait to hear what they have to say. We are going to talk about motherhood. I'd like to know something about all of you guys that people would be surprised to know. For example, for me, I'm really into emo rap. Like, the more face tattoos, the better. Like, the sadder the rapper is, the more I'm like feeling it, right? So people are always surprised. What about you?
I'm Dr. Susan Elizondo, and I'm originally from a small town southeast of Houston called LaPorte. I'm an optometrist, and I'm also the owner of Westlake Hills Vision Center, which is an optical boutique in Davenport Village. I'd always wanted to own a practice, and I finally got my dream in February of 2019. I just feel really lucky to be here and to be a part of something like this. I feel grateful to be surrounded by other women, because I think being in a high-powered position, it's just really nice. Or I really need that moral support a lot, and just today I feel like it's helped a lot just to be around other like-minded women. So I'm just very grateful.
My guilty pleasure is the Bachelor series.
Oh,
I watch like everyone: Bachelor, Bachelorette, Bachelor in Paradise, Bachelor Winter Games. Like it's very sad.
I didn't know that Bachelor Winter Games. That's a thing.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right.
Hi, my name is Cloe Sill, and I am a native-born and raised Texan. I am a real estate agent, and I own our brokership, Premier Real Estate of Texas. I service the commercial and luxury residential, as well as farm and ranch and recreational, which is the one that's dear to my heart since I am from a farm and ranch background. Well, I am honored to be a part of the Women's Podcast today. I've met a lot of women from different industries, and I just love their willingness to want to contribute to the community.
And for me, I love the dirt. I love to play in the dirt, plant in the dirt. I just love to be outside and be in the dirt.
My name is Andi Scull, and I'm from Austin, Texas. I am a creative director and art park developer. Hope Outdoor Gallery is an 18-acre outdoor art park and technology center that we're building across from the Austin Airport for the Austin community. I'm really appreciative to be a part of the Women of Austin podcast, because it's important that we are a community together. I'm real excited for all the growth that's going on in our city, especially as more women are getting together doing great projects like this. For me, I think there's a bunch, but definitely I'm a sci-fi junkie. I'm super into aliens and like supernatural powers, and truly like us, really not living up to our full potential. So I'm super junky on all that.
Oh, I love sci-fi.
Yes, we gotta talk. I always wanted to meet an alien for real.
I believe I have. I'm not kidding. I'm pretty sure I know a few. It comes with the territory of working with artists.
Right. Okay, so we're all moms. We're all working moms here, and I've been thinking a lot about what part of being a working mom I wanted to talk about while I have you guys here, and what I wanted to start with, because I'm fascinated by this. did motherhood affect your career path and your decision to do what you do today? And Andi, let's start with you.
Okay, I'll take that. Yes and no. I have found that talking more about my specific journey, I didn't realize that it took a few other women to encourage me. And then now that I've done it, hearing, experiences really help. So I'd say no first, because when I was 24, I remember feeling this like hole in my body. And I realized that was when my mom had me, and I was questioning whether I should be thinking more about having children at that point. But I had just become an art director for Enviromedia. My career was really just starting.
Yeah.
And so I went to Kenya to see my aunt, and my aunt and uncle were like, don't worry. We had our twins at 34. You have a good 10 years. Do you? And so I did. I did a lot of experimenting and traveling and tried things. But a lot of that came because someone else talked to me, especially a woman, that I could look at and see, oh, okay. Once I then had my kids a little bit later, I definitely had to make a lot of different choices.
Yeah.
Just by the pure nature of the physicality of being pregnant, breastfeeding, whether you kept working or didn't, which I did, it's just something that you have to physically go through.
Yeah.
So I think if any woman says that they didn't have to make choices, that would be so bizarre to me. Yeah. Does that make sense? I mean, not in any judgment way at all. You just sit and watch a lot of Netflix for a couple months while you're you just physically had to do things different. So
Yeah.
How do you feel? Because you're newly, how old's your son?
He's a year and a half. So when I was younger, going through grad school and then optometry school, I really didn't, kids didn't even, I was very anti-kid. I didn't want kids or to get married.
Oh, okay.
And then I met my husband, that changed that.
Oh, yep, that happens.
But I kind of had this mistaken idea that I could just keep on doing things the way that I was doing and it wouldn't change things, because I found out I was pregnant and I started negotiating the deal to buy the practice that I own now. And when we switched ownership, I was 5 months pregnant. And then after taking ownership, I realized I couldn't just work full time and have a baby full time. And the idea didn't just mesh. And so admittedly, I cried a lot, and there were a lot of anxiety-ridden nights. Yeah. And I was like, what am I going to do? I just bought this brand new practice. I'm 5 months pregnant. I'm due in July. And then I had the baby, and I lost the baby. So I ended up not having to make that decision. And as anxiety-ridden as I was over it, I realized even though it would have been hard, I would have much rather had the baby with me. And I got pregnant shortly after with my second. And so with him, my priorities had completely and utterly shifted.
Oh, yeah.
And so I said, and he was going to be born during the pandemic. And I said, let the world burn, let my practice go under. I don't care. I just want a healthy baby. And I did what I needed to reduce my hours and take care of myself and give myself leave. And, I kept as like a duck on water. You paddle furiously underneath, but you're gliding along on top. And it's been really difficult. It's one of the toughest things mentally that I've ever had to do. And I was lucky enough to be my own, boss. And so I took a year off. I worked from home for 1 day a week for a year, but the balance is still really, really hard. And I've kind of had to mentally really make the shift that I will be up late at night. I will be working during his nap time. I will work as hard as I possibly can on my days that I'm in the office, so I can try and be present with him when I'm out of the office, but it doesn't always happen, but I try, and that's where the mom guilt comes in
really hard. Well, thank you for being so vulnerable with us and sharing that. And I think that that's an important part of your story and why you are how you parent. And I think that your son is really, really lucky to have you and to have your focus and to have your attention, and that you're present and okay, actually, so we're talking about mom guilt and being present. Chloe, we started to talk about this a little bit earlier, but do you feel that because you're in real estate, you can kind of always be working, and you kind of you have to travel a lot.
Sure. So I'm a little bit different. I had kids right out of high school. I had my first child at 19. 18 months later, my second one came along. So 100% I did plan what I was going to do with my life around my kids. Mm-hmm. So with 2 kids, I went through college, got my accounting degree, had an accounting and tax practice for 29 years so that I could work from home. And then in 2016, I got into real estate. So with that being said, yes, it's long hours, but real estate is a little bit more adjustable than the accounting and tax practice because you're in a computer, you've got deadlines, you've got this and this. So the real estate is actually not so mundane as the accounting and tax was. So it's something that's exciting, and I don't even think of the time. It goes by so fast that I enjoy it. So I don't mind putting in those long hours, but I can adjust the timing of when I do what paperwork, whether it's showing properties around my daughter. My other 2 are grown. They're 28 and 29. And then I have a 12-year-old that I adopted. So long hours are just, I think, a part of motherhood, a part of working. I think it's a part of everything. I mean, whether you're a stay-at-home mom, I think that's the hardest job. And I think that, it's still the same hours. Yes. You're just doing something different.
I thought I wanted to be a stay-at-home mom, and I was ready. I was so excited. I was gonna go have lunch with my friends all the time, and watch soap operas. And I lasted, I'd probably like 14 months, and I was like, I gotta get a job. I have to speak to grown-ups during the day. Like, I love my baby, but I can only watch so much. What was it, like Peppa Pig?
Well, that's why I really like this topic. I mean, even what I just heard from all of us, there's so many parts that are the different parts that are also the hard parts. That a lot of times when you're out, whether it's with the client or even a friend you haven't seen in a while, they want to see pictures of your kid, or they want to know how your mommy life is. And of course, we pull up all the great memories. Yeah. You don't start with, last week was really hard because of this, and in a way, that's also actually what makes it very special. Mm-hmm. I mean, that sharing that you have with your kids because you know that you love your time with them so much. Yeah. That when you are dividing it between working and being with them, it makes that time even more special.
Hi, my name is Mindy Hofman, and I'm from Los Angeles, California. I'm the founder of Women of Austin, and we have our show, obviously, and we're putting a book together and coming up with some great community events. It was important to me to be able to share the stories of women in the community, and I wanted to get them out as quickly as possible and in front of as many people as possible, because everything that I was hearing and learning from these women when I was meeting with them was so important and so touching and moving. I felt compelled to get everyone together and in front of the camera so we can share it with as many people as possible. I'd like people to know that we are inclusive. Everybody's invited. Everybody's welcome. We're doing monthly events, and we're just really focusing on getting women together where we can all be ourselves and be vulnerable. And I'm hoping to have conversations where we can tell stories of times when we were vulnerable and how we were able to come out of it. It's important to me that we show that we're not all perfect, because often it's easy to show up Instagram ready and yes, hair and makeup done. But I think that it's important that we show who we really are. And I really want to focus on collaboration, community, and connection. I know that together we can make really important things happen, and we can make our lives better, and we can make the lives of those around us better.
I think one thing I found difficult right now with like doing daycare, and if they have a COVID scare, it's really hard to find care, because like who's going to watch your kid if they're sent home for a COVID scare, right?
And what about when someone wants you to ask you, where do you get your care, and you're like, oh, I'm not sharing my babysitter. Yeah. That's when lines get crossed. Like, I love you.
Yeah.
But I'm not sharing her number.
Yeah.
But so it's been really different, during pandemic time, and then seeing how moms have been getting together too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it's also like, well, I do want to have like a play date, but where has your kid been in the past? Like, what daycare are that? Are you home for a COVID scare? Like, you want to like, you don't want to be exposed and, risk your kid and just the inconvenience of everybody. Like, you can't go out, everybody has to be quarantined, you have to watch your kid. Like,
well, for you in the medical field in particular, you literally have to be even more, right?
Yeah.
I'm just saying for myself, being that I'm in the art world and the project I'm working on is mostly outdoors.
Oh, yeah.
I've had more of this kind of flexibility, and I've had other friends in the medical field who've desperately were like, can we meet up for a play date? I'm like, absolutely. You want to meet up this afternoon? And then they're like, oh wait, I got to go to the hospital tomorrow. And I'm like, well, I can't promise. But we'll meet you at Flores if you want.
Yeah, exactly.
For sure. It's so, I don't know. I think it's been a fascinating time.
I think on the flip side of COVID, if there's a blessing in COVID, is that a lot of families got to come back together forcibly.
Yeah.
And companies figured out how to allow their employees to stay home and work. And actually now they're getting to be more present with their children and their family as a whole. And that creates, for me, I think it creates a more productive employee or more productive business owner when they know they're managing their home and they don't have to worry about their kids because they're all present. And I just find that has been a positive thing about COVID, is just the focus on family, where it kind of got back to that.
One of the difficulties I've had with, and maybe y'all, because y'all all have kids that are a bit older than me, can help me out, is like staying present when I'm stressed about things that are on the work and business side of things. I have a really hard time kind of leaving work at work. So I don't know what y'all do to make that happen.
You get older, you age. I think I did it about 48, 49. That's when I started saying, okay, I can cut this off.
I try to set times where I turn everything off and sit down with my daughter. And now, admittedly, I'm not a chef. I don't like cook. Dinner time is not a special time for us. It's what can we find? Like, I'll put something on the table. But for me, we have our special time at night before she's going to bed. I'll get in bed and I'll snuggle with her, and nobody has devices, nobody has anything, and that's where we really connect, and that's our special time. Now, is it enough? I don't know. Would I like to have more? Sure. But, often, I'll admit it, guilty, we'll be, on our devices next to each other. But we're both happy.
Well, I'd like to introduce another part of this topic, I think, that is super relevant. I know you and I, when we first met, and I've been finding it very helpful for other women, too, that totally bluntly, the most magical thing is that every single thing that I wanted in marriage, I got in my divorce. And so currently, and I'm saying this in the most positive way, that like everyone starts a business, gets in a relationship, gets in a marriage, hoping that it succeeds, you know. So it's, but because of this fact, I actually now like 100% get to see the way that I can divide my time, because we have 50-50 custody, and when I don't have them, I really get to do some of my other business stuff that I get a lot of joy out of. And then when I do have them, I get to focus a little bit more on that. And I just think talking about that is important, because I remember in my marriage, it was a little harder to figure out how to divide it because of other reasons. Not that one was better than the other, but for sure that's how I'm doing it right now. And that's something that's different from, like, I totally remember exactly what you're talking about. And my kids are 6 and 8 now. And so I also tell friends, I'm like, it's just 0 to 4, it's just hard. I don't care if you're in the most successful marriage, or if you're a single mom, or if you adopted, whatever it is, the best part is just talking about it and don't feel alone.
And know that stage is going to be just that. It's a stage, and then you have a new stage, and it does get easier.
Okay. Good to know.
Yeah. I feel it's true. I feel like everything preps you for it. Like, I even tell pregnant moms, I'm like, how you're getting, I'm going peeing I'm like, that's just prepping you for later. Like, you think it's annoying now, but you're going to be grateful later. It's like boot camp.
That's true. That's a good way to put it.
And just know that the kids have you figured out before you figure them out.
Oh.
And then when you think you have them figured out, well, then they change on you.
Oh, yeah.
Right. This is like the pro right here.
Right. I thought I was going to be like the really strict discipline. I'm the total sucker. Total sucker.
That's hilarious.
And
that's so
okay.
true. All the grand ideas just go out the window.
Yeah.
I'm like, they're gonna eat anything that I put in front of them, just like my Chinese mom used to do with me. No. I'm like, do you like this macaroni and cheese or this macaroni and cheese? Whichever one works.
Yeah, I will make 3 if it means you put food in your body. Like, just do it.
It's the being carried all the time. Like, he's figured out, if I say hug or kiss beforehand, Mommy's going to be like, yes, I really do. And then you just end up staying there.
Now, Chloe, did I overhear you saying that you homeschooled your daughter?
I did. Yes.
You did.
So part of the planning, and so yes, there were time frames in there that I homeschooled my children because that was more conducive to work and to a phase of their life that I felt like I wanted to be more influential to them versus a school. So my 12-year-old, I homeschooled her up till last year. So when she got to middle school, I was like, okay, social time. And yes, she's a socialite. So, but yes, it was part of being conducive to how I wanted to be the main kind of influence for a certain period of her life and to work with my work as well. Yeah. So, yes.
Well, that's big of you because you're working, doing your job. You're the teacher, like managing all of that. I'm always really impressed when I meet parents who
don't
homeschool.
Be so impressed because at middle school I don't know it anymore, so that's I had to get at middle school I can't teach her anymore. So
Well, I hear they teach math differently now.
Yes.
Why are they doing that to us? Like, have you seen that yet?
Oh wow, yeah. I'm not quite there yet, and I am currently taking for granted like the whole iPad and homeschooling. Or they're it's all going to be covered.
Yeah.
You know
They're
what?
going to be fine. I'm handling the art stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Reach out to the teachers, but YouTube has been I have to relearn what she's doing. So I go to YouTube videos and I relearn it so I can help her.
Okay, that's good.
That's super helpful, actually.
Isn't it?
Yeah. Although I guess now I remember you can like learn anything on YouTube. Nowadays.
Well, you telling me that ahead of time will save me from looking it up on YouTube in front of her. So now I'll do it while she's not around, and then she'll think I know it all.
Let them, they got to know that we're normal too. We have to learn things too.
I mean, YouTube's great for everything. That's how we did cloth diapers in the beginning. That's how I learned how to put on a cloth diaper.
Wow.
Yeah, I tried that, and it was like,
we did.
Yeah,
we didn't last.
bring me the throwaway ones. This cloth thing, I'll use them for rags.
That's exactly where ours ended up. Yeah.
Don't tell anybody you wipe the table with them.
Or in my case, I remember my kids then using them for their dolls. Well, because I kept them there anyway. It is so funny, the whole just make it all work.
Yeah.
When you're running a business and are a single mom, it's just there's a lot of comedy involved.
Yeah, it's a lot. Yeah.
There's one day I brought him to the office with me and I didn't bring enough diapers.
Oh, yeah.
And then he ended up peeing on me. And then I found one random cloth diaper. I put it on, and while I was changing him in the car as we were going home, he peed on my car seats. Like, you just go with the flow, I feel like.
We still have that motto in our house. Something's wrong. I'm like, baby, we just go with the flow. Well, I guess that's a good note to leave, to end on, to have everyone remember that, like, when you're parenting, it's probably easiest to just go with the flow. Go with the flow. It'll make your life a lot easier. Well, thank you so much for being here with us, you guys. This was really nice to get to speak with you guys, and I definitely learned something from everyone. Like, that's the best part about doing this for me. And I really hope to see you guys back sometime. And
yeah, thanks for having us.
Thank you. Thanks so much for joining us today on the Women of Austin podcast. A new episode premieres twice a month right here on the Women of Austin channel. Make sure to subscribe and hit that notifications bell so you never miss an episode. Make sure to follow us on Instagram at women_of_Austin. My name is Mindy Hofman. I hope you'll join us for our next episode of the Women of Austin podcast.